I was cutting what was called a package for television. I was doing some of the voice work for something that is happening tomorrow, and it's on eugenics. And it is the history of eugenics in America. We led the world on eugenics, and it was a progressive movement. And I shut off the microphone, so we had to come back. And Pat looked at me and said, "Holy cow!" And I said, "Now, Pat, you are a well-read guy. You've been reading the history of the country and the Federalist Papers and everything else ever since I met you 20-some years ago. You didn't know this stuff?"
Nope. No idea.
Did you know this stuff? Did you hear that a bit of that package, Stu?
Yeah, I did, but only since you've been talking about it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
That part about Theodore Roosevelt and cripples.
Yeah,
I think they called him.
Yeah, here it is. In 1912, a year before he was president, New Jersey's Governor Woodrow Wilson created the Board of Examiners of Feeble-Minded Epileptics and Other Defectives. Under it, the state could determine, quote, when procreation is inadvisable, like for criminals, prisoners, poor kids, and the ill-defined, other defectives. Roosevelt's close advisor, Charles Van Hise, said, quote, he who thinks of not himself primarily, but of his race and its future is the new patriot. Former President Roosevelt later endorsed Madison Grant's Passing of the Great Race, a book Hitler once referred to as his Bible. What most history textbooks seem to ignore is that before the Nazis took power, the Germans lagged behind Americans and Europeans in eugenics. Where's the part that I was looking for? Here it is. The New Liberalism movement in America, the early 20th century, led by Herbert Crowley. He wrote a book in 1909 called The Promise of American Life, in which he declared that the state must, quote, interfere on behalf of the really fittest. Eugenics was a popular thought for Presidents Woodrow Wilson and Teddy Roosevelt. And Teddy Roosevelt, he would have killed his cousin.
FDR.
He would have killed him because he was a cripple. He wasn't the fittest. If anybody thinks that we are playing, we are playing with fire here. And what the left is going to do is do exactly what Woodrow Wilson, and it lasted 4 years. No, it lasted 8 years, but then he had a stroke. He was completely incapacitated the last, I think, 2 years of his office. His wife actually ran the country. But it turned on him shortly after his second term started, because he pushed it through and did all of the things that Barack Obama is doing currently. And the country, that's why you didn't hear much about progressives after this period, because the country realized, oh my gosh, I am dealing with evil here. The reason why Woodrow Wilson, and I was talking to somebody, it was you this morning, Pat, that the good thing that we have going for us is a thing that America did not have going for us the last time the progressives really took charge. And that is Uncle Sam and all of this stuff, the doughboy, over here, over there, all that stuff, that came from Woodrow Wilson. That the Nazis, Goebbels later said that the reason why they lost World War I is because of the propaganda from America, that they understood, the progressives understood propaganda. And that's why Germany lost the war. Goebbels said, we learned it from America in World War I, and he was promising the people, that's why we won't lose this time. But here's the secret. George Bush and the right have so wrapped themselves in a flag. Do you remember when The Real America came out, Stu, the book? This is before the buildup of the war. And I said, stop with all flags. I don't want you've not seen a flag on my set. You have not seen a flag on my website. And it's for a purpose. It's to hold its relevance, to not taint the flag and to make it any one message. And the flag has become this symbol of the right for many people in America. And so the flag has lost its meaning. It has become about politics. This is a good thing. I've hated it, but I think this is a good thing, because the cries of un-American have already been cried for so long and were dismissed by thinking people. During the buildup of the war, I was on the air saying it is not un-American for these people to speak out. Now, it is anti-capitalist to think that you could speak out and then not have, people stop going to your movies, not because of a boycott or anything else, but because if that's not the way America feels, they're not going to go see your movie. So it's not un-American to speak your mind. But a lot of people cried un-American, 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 and the left used it. So now when Nancy Pelosi says it's un-American, it's laughable. And they can't wrap themselves in the flag because they've destroyed the flag. Between the left and the right, they've destroyed what that flag, what that Uncle Sam means. The big government, even the eagle, in so many ways has been so overused and misused that the critical piece of propaganda that Woodrow Wilson had is not available to them now. He has to talk about the collective. He has to talk about the global society. He has to talk about doing the best for the common good. He has to talk about we're in a new world order. None of those things connect with the United States. None of them. None of them. So the only thing that he has is fear and intimidation, bullying, because he can't talk about the facts. Otherwise, we would be talking about the facts. And those don't connect with Americans either. And you don't bully America. You just don't do it. You don't do it for very long, at least.
Well, we should all back up, though, and just talk about the real issue, which is, will we solve our problems if we start sterilizing poor children? And I don't think people are talking about the seriousness of a policy like this because, it could be fantastic. See, look, everyone would be rich, right? That's what would happen.
All we do is sterilize the poor? Sure.
Yeah, it's a win-win, isn't it?
Look, here's the thing. Here's the thing on the blogs are right now. Take Glenn. Do we have the Glenn Beck out of context? No, we don't.
Not handy. We don't have enough time.
That's what all the blogs will say, and I just want to point out that was Stu that said that.
Look, all I'm saying is if we take people under a certain income and we forced them to be sterilized, the world would be better.
Here's the thing. Quote. The progressives...
Way to make it better, Stu.
Yeah, I was just trying.
The progressives have said these things over and over again. Do you know, little history fact that most people don't know, do you know this racist country had an integrated armed forces at the turn of the century? Did you know that?
No,
you didn't know
that. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we had an integrated armed forces. Black and white served together. You know who stopped that? Woodrow Wilson.
He was a big racist.
A huge racist. And that's what Planned Parenthood was, to get rid of the undesirables. Code word for poor was undesirable. Code word black. That's what the progressives were. They're always about classes and groups. You just better hope that you're in the right group under the progressives.